the last video, I showed you how to solder the two halves together after spinning. Now I'm going to show you how to create and solder the foot onto the bottom of our vessel. I used the table shear once again to cut out a strip of 18 gauge fine silver sheet into a ribbon that's several inches long and around 1/4 inch wide. I bend this ribbon into a ring, typically by hand, so that one end is overlapping the other, and I solder the ends together. This is called creating a lap joint. Once the solder is cooled down, I place the foot on an anvil and hammer the joint out until it's even with the rest, and then I file away any excess. We put our vessel back onto the rotating soldering pan, this time face down, and apply the paste flux to the base where the foot we just made is going to go. Once we get the silver foot centered on the vessel where we want it to be, we use the hard silver solder again to attach the foot onto the base. Quench and pickle the vessel, and next we're ready to start coating it with enamel. The first step in enameling this piece is pouring liquid enamel inside the vessel. We need a coating of the liquid enamel on the inside because it helps control the expansion and contraction of the glass enamel we will be putting on the outside, which I will get to more in part 6. The liquid enamel also helps make the whole vessel more stable and will reduce the chances of the outside enamel from cracking. Once the enamel is coated evenly on the inside and all excess is drizzled out, we dry the vessel under a 250-watt heat lamp in a small box which, surprisingly enough, is known as the dry box or light box. You should leave it in the dry box for at least an hour so that all of the moisture from the liquid enamel has evaporated. Once it's cool enough to handle again, we aren't going to fire this piece in the kiln just yet because we need to apply our outer base coat of enamel. More than likely, the color of the exterior enamel will be visible after the vessel has been completed, so choosing your base coat color is an important step that will dictate how the vessel will look after you're done with everything. It should be an enamel that is opaque and fits with the theme of the vessel, and for this piece, I'm creating a feather-themed design with a dark blue color because I want this piece to resemble the colors of the feather of a blue jay. To apply the exterior coats, we will need an airbrush, which we'll use to spray our vessel with a solution of 1 part distilled water and 3 parts clear fire. Clear fire is a holding agent that is designed to use with enamel, and you can buy it from any major enamel supplier. I am going to be using a sifting tool to apply the powdered enamel onto the vessel, as it is being held by a tool that I made myself. It has no name, but it is essentially a pair of special wooden tongs that go inside the mouth of the piece, and I use a wooden wedge to clamp the tongs onto the inner lip of the vessel. This keeps the vessel from moving around and prevents my fingers from ruining the delicate dust of enamel as it is being applied. This tool is especially useful when transferring the vessel onto the wire rack. When you're transferring the wire rack from the dry box to the kiln, you should use a firing fork to lift up the rack from underneath and then carefully place it in the center of the kiln and seal the door shut. I leave it in the kiln for 2.5 minutes, which is plenty of time for the enamel to melt into a viscous, glossy state. If I leave it in the kiln for too long, the enamel will get too hot and burn or drip off on the surface. If I don't leave it in the kiln for long enough, the enamel will come out looking rough and grainy. Once removing our vessel from the kiln, leave it alone for at least 10 minutes before handling it again. In the next video, I'm going to explain applying silver foil over the vase coat and setting the silver cloisonne wire onto the vessel's surface.